Hi everybody, Zach here, and welcome to the 21st lesson of this RTS tutorial series. I'm going to ask that if you're watching this series as I'm currently doing it, please watch this entire intro card. But before I go any further, this lesson will cover the start of setting up our unit HUD, and the next lesson, which will come out Friday, we will add functionality to that HUD. So, the reason why I'm asking you to watch the entire intro card is I've been getting some comments that have both been making me really happy and some that have been making me a little bit confused, and I wanted to go over again what this series is about. It is about why certain things are done, how they can be, not about how they can be done, not about, this is the way you should be doing it, rather the concepts. This is meant to be an educational tool, not a finished product. This is meant for people who are watching the series to learn from, to try new things with, to develop their own ideas from. This isn't me going, hey, this is how it should be done. I am trying to introduce, again, concepts and approaches, not give you, a polished product. Now, speaking of polished products, a little bit ironically, yes, I am learning YouTube and doing video work as I do this series. And as you've seen, I've learned a bit myself while doing this. But the earlier videos really do bother me personally. They aren't all that good in terms of sound quality and in terms of some other issues and like resolution in particular. And I do plan to go back and remaster those previous videos, at least the ones I still have all the raw material from. Now, there will be some I can't fix, like I believe it's the first lesson in the second section, where you get a sound of an earlier video of mine coming on. Unfortunately, that is in the raw recording. I can't get rid of it. But I am going to split that video into two parts, because simply it's an hour-long video, and that's a bit much. But what I need from you, and why I'm asking you to watch this video, is sometime about now in the video, a poll should appear in the top right corner. And I want you to help me, make sure this product is delivering what I'm aiming for it to deliver. And the only people who can tell me that are you, those of you taking these lessons. So there are going to be three options. Actually, there's four options. There'll be another option. So the first option is, make no change to my format. I am still giving you the why and the concepts. It is still an educational tool, so I can leave it as is. The second option is to do intro cards like in section 1. So videos 1 through 5, I believe, I have that. This is what we're going to be doing today. Here are the blueprints we're going to be using. Here's what they do. So all future videos from next Monday onwards, if you guys select this, would have those intro cards. And yes, that is how short I'm running this poll. I'm running it until Sunday. That gives me time to actually do that card. For the previous sections, so sections 2 and 3, there'll be a concept introduction card which will cover everything done in those sections, and I'll put those videos up at the very start of each section. And then when I redo those previous videos, I will include new intros for the videos in sections 2 and 3. Now, the other option is that I just do those sort of intro videos I just mentioned for entire sections. So it'll be a single video that goes over the concepts, and that'll be put at the start of each section, and the previous sections, 2 and 3, this section, and all future sections will get those summary cards. So again, if you think what I'm doing is good, make no change. If you liked what I did in the first 5 videos and you want those back, that's the intro cards like section 1. Or if you just want a sort of lesson plan that is, similar to the summaries at the end of each section, and they go over the concepts, very broadly speaking, I can do that as option 3. Or if you have your own ideas about what you'd like to see in the series, vote other and leave a comment down below. This poll will run through the 2 HUD lessons I will only be available on this one, of course, and it will end on Sunday. So please vote. Please let me know what will work. All of that said, fire up your editor, and I'll see you on the other side. So here we are back inside the editor, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the blueprints, and I'm just going to copy that color that we've been using for our HUDs. So I'm going to go into one of the HUDs, just select the background image, and I'm going to copy the color and opacity, close it out, and I'm going to create a new widget blueprint, which will be our unit info HUD. And let's just open that up, make sure our canvas panel is correctly there. Sorry, in an earlier attempt at doing this, for some reason it vanished on me. And I'm going to drag in an image box inside the canvas panel. And actually, I am going to undo that for a second. What I want to do is not do the image, because the information might actually change. What I want to do first is I want to get a size box. So let me just close this out and open up my panels, and in here you'll see size box. I'm going to drag this in first. Then into my size box I'm going to drag an image. Now I'm going to rename this as background image box, and my image will be background image. And before I forget to do this, I'm going to paste in the color there. And in this background image box, I'm going to set the anchor to the center of the screen. I'm going to count out 3 tiles, 1, 2, 3, and set it to the outside of that 3rd tile on the top corner. I'm just going to drag so we have an equal amount of space covered on top. Equal amount of space left and right, and an equal amount of space between the top and bottom. So we're just covering the center of the screen. The reason why we're using a size box this time is some of the information here might change. So we're going to use a couple of size boxes outside of this. I'm just going to minimize that so it's not in the way anymore, and I'm going to highlight my canvas panel. The next thing I want to do is I want to drag out another size box. So in my panels again, I'm just going to go to size box, and I'm going to drag it to the center here. And I'm going to set it in the middle of the image there. And I'm just going to drag this out so I'm covering the center of the image. And I am going to anchor this to the middle. Everything is actually probably getting pretty much anchored to this middle area here. And I'm going to extend this a tiny bit. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to drag into this a simple horizontal box. So let's just find our horizontal box, which will also be in our panel. I don't know why I scrolled up. And put that in there. And this will be our name size box. This will be our name box. And then inside of there, we're going to grab a text block and we're going to set it. And this will be our name text. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill. And I'm going to set that so the horizontal alignment is center. So the text is centered like that. And I'm going to center it in the middle as well. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it there for now. It doesn't really matter too much. And in here, just to be cheeky, I'm going to put some filler text of Twoneurons, because, hey, it's my channel. Why can't I do that? And again, we're going to close that out just so we have it all neat and nice for us right now. And then I'm going to do a details panel, which will start with, again, a size box, which we're just going to bring over to the centerpiece here, align it to the center, and I'm just going to start it there, and I'm going to drag it out just to about there, and drag it down all the way to about here. And that reopened for some reason, sorry about that, and I'm going to rename this as my details size box. And in here, I'm going to put a vertical box. So I'm just going to go into here, grab a vertical box, place it inside of there, and this will be my details vert box. I know I didn't put horizontal or horts in the first one. And I am going to then put in a few horizontal panels. So the first horizontal box I'm going to put in, I said panel, sorry about that, is going to be my sex box, the gender sex box. That sounds so awful, doesn't it? It's going to be the box that has the sex of the NPC in it. And in here, I'm going to have three things, and I'm pretty much going to repeat these three things over and over again. To save us time from copying and pasting all of it in over and over again, we're just going to save us time of repeating, putting these things in. I'm just going to copy and paste the same top box a couple of times. So the first thing I want to put in here is a text box. And then after the text box, I'm going to put a spacer, which will be in my primitives. After the spacer, I'm going to have another text box. There we go. Ooh, sorry, that was a text box, not a text block. There we go. So, in this first block, I am going to have this as my sex label text, and all it's going to say is quite literally the word sex with a colon after it. As for my spacer, what I want to do with this one is I'm going to set it to a spacing of 6. And then in this block, sorry about that, I am going to have this as my sex text. Sounds like sexting, I realize. We're just going to put the word female in there. So you should have a setup that looks something like this. Now before we start copying and pasting this block, what we're going to do is we're going to put in a spacer after this block. So I'm just going to go down to, I'm going to highlight my details vert box, not size box, sorry, my vert box, and I'm going to drag in a spacer. So a spacer after the sex box. I really wish I thought of a better name of that before recording this. And this spacer will have a padding of 5. Just so we have a little bit of space. I'm going to highlight both of these, and I'm just going to hit Control C, and then highlight the details vert box and Control V. You notice it will space it in the correct spot, so we have that spacer there. The next one. This one will be my age box. And inside of my age box, I'm just going to rename this as my, sorry, I'm just going to open this up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to open this up to see what I named it before, which is my age label text. We're going to change the text to age. And as I'm doing this, I just want to make sure I didn't change the font size, because I think I did actually. And you know what? Before we go any further, let's quickly change this down to 20. And do the same for this one. And we're going to do the same as well for this one. Sorry, I thought I was going to save time by copying and pasting. It only works when you don't skip a step. And so we have our age label text, and now we need our age text. And of course, female doesn't make sense for a dummy text, so we're going to put 99 in for this one, or 999. And again, I'm just going to minimize these for a minute. I'm going to highlight the age and the spacer. I'm going to hit Control V. And in my vert box again, I am going to Control V. You'll notice it spaces is put right after that first or second spacer, sorry. And this one will be my birthday box. So let's just rename that as birthday box. And in my birthday box, I'm going to go into age, and this will be into the one that says age, and this will be my birthday label text. We'll change this to the word birthday. And then here we'll have birthday text. And just because it will be easier just to think about it this way, I'm going to put in the 31st of December, 1955. And I'm going to just quickly save that before I forget to do so. And we're done with this box. We're going to put more things in here later on, but that is good enough for now. Just going to close that out. The next thing we want to do is we want to grab another size box. Technically, we don't need a size box for this one, but I just like having it just in case we want to use it. And I'm going to again anchor this to the center there. And I'm going to hit undo just in case I did something weird. There we go. I'm just going to drag this to the center. And we're going to extend this just a bit. And I think that's about a good enough size. And this will be our character image box. And in our character image box, we are going to drag in a new image, which again, I'm going the wrong direction for. We'll just drag it in there. And this will be our character image. So remember, we set up a character image. We have 2 files you can download. If you haven't downloaded them, I would recommend doing so. We're going to fill that into here, actually. I am going to move this over just slightly and move it up just slightly. Actually, no. I want it kind of aligned with this box. I like that look. That's good enough for me for now. However, I am going to then extend this out just a tiny bit. Actually, because I believe all the images are the same size, we're just going to copy and paste that. So there we go. So we now have a box shape inside of that little rectangle. And then finally, what we're going to do is for now, we'll get rid of this later on, is we're going to put a close button here. What we're going to do later on is actually have it close when you click off of it, but I just think it's a little bit easier for now to have a simple button that we can use. And it will show you the same sort of code we're kind of going to use down the road. So I'm going to grab a button, I'm just going to drag it in here, put it in this corner, and again, I want to anchor that to the center. The reason why I'm anchoring it to the center is if I change resolutions and it's not anchored to the center, I have found that these boxes tend to either start going off the edge or, in the case of some of them, completely in the wrong spot. And I'm just going to resize this to a small box. And I'm going to use just 21 by 21. Actually, I don't like that. I'm going to go up to 40 by 40. That's a better size. I'm going to just fit it more towards that corner. And I'm going to leave it as this gray color. But I am going to rename the button as my close button. And I'm going to drag in a text block, and put it inside of there. And I'm going to just rename this as my, sorry, that's the button still. I'm going to rename the text block as my close button text. And my close button text will just be one letter. It'll be an X. And as you can see, it's kind of meh in the centering, but that's, again, we're just using this temporarily. I'll size this down to 20. And I'm just going to change the font color to black for a minute to see how we feel about that. If you don't like it, we'll just change it back. I kind of prefer the white. Fits with everything else a little bit nicer. I don't know what I just hit there, so I'm going to undo rename widget. I think I just want to named a widget. Okay. Just drag that up. Turn that back to a white. Compile and save. So we're pretty much done with the setup. What I do want to do before we finish out, since we're only about a few minutes into this, is just set up one more thing, which is to simply get this box to get ready to spawn it. So what we're going to do is actually, sorry, I don't want to get that ready. What I want to do is I want to clean up a mistake from the previous video. I just finished recording and I realized I made a mistake, so sorry, compile and save real quick. Close it out. And the mistake I want to fix, as I save everything, is in our, if you go to our player, we go to our controller, we added this in. And this was actually pretty stupid of me to do so. And the reason why it's stupid, not only are we deleting this down the road, as I've mentioned in the earlier video, what's wrong with it is simply put that the fact this is a single variable. So when we create a new unit like this, it creates an instance of this master, and when it does so, what it's really doing is, this is an instance, and it passes this instance in as the spawned unit. Instead of going, hey, there's multiple units, only the newest instance will count as a spawned. So I'm going to delete this, and for now, we're going to also delete it out of here. We're just going to compile and save, and we're going to go back into our game settings and into our game state. And in here is where we actually really kind of want it. As you see, we already have our birthday check, and now that spawned unit is no longer working. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. What we want to do is we want to leave our birthday check as is, but we're going to delete these two parts. And in fact, we're actually going to unpin this for now, and we're going to move this over. We are going to instead put a new function in here called get all units. And inside of get all units, what we want to do is we want to drag off of here. We're going to type in get all actors of class. And we are going to then do, of course, our RTS unit master. And we want the BP version. So just make sure it is the BP version. It is. And then off of here, we're going to create a variable. And this will be our list of all units. This way it will also get units the NPC controller will have when we get set up an NPC controller. And then I'm going to create a output. Actually, I'm going to delete that node real quick, so I'm going to do this the lazy way. I'm going to hook this into the return. And I'm also going to just drag the list of all units into there. And this will be unit out. I'm going to compile and save that. We're going to go back to our event graph, and we're just going to drag this function. Oops, sorry, not list of units. We're going to drag it all units into here. And if it is true, if we've hit our 100 day tick, we want this to fire off. And what we want this to do is for every member of the array we've created, of this list of all units, we want it to, of course, check is it its birthday, or run this function for that instance. Now I could, put this on the event begin play. The only problem is if we create more units, this isn't working. And we will move this somewhere else to this, in this blueprint later on. For now, it is good here. It won't be good in terms of efficiency later on, because this is going to go every time the day tick hits 1, which is going to be fairly often. Units might not be spawning in that often, they might be spawning in more often. So what we're going to do later on is we're going to create a call to this blueprint that will activate this function in a custom event similar to our game speed here. But for now, this is fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag off of here, and I'm going to type in for each, and I want this for each loop. And the array going into the loop is our unit out, and it's going to plug into this birthday check. And then for the array element, we are just going to plug that directly into the unit. Why is that not compatible? Give me 1 second. Because I did RTS resources. Sorry about that. We're just going to quickly fix this by going into RTS unit master. Apparently I didn't put the BP on the end of that. I was not sure why I thought I had. I did for something else, I guess. We'll change this to RTS unit master as well. And yes, change variable. Okay, we're going to get that error. That's fine. Plug that into there. We will delete this. We'll plug it back into there. And that will be unit out. Of course, hang on, let me compile and save real quick. Yep, I know there's an error. Unit out. Unit out 2 for now. We'll fix that in a second. We're going to plug that into there. That can go into there now. Compile, save. Go back into here, and let's fix that typo. And there we go. Compile, save. So that cleans up the mistake. Now, anytime a unit spawns in after the first, after every day tick, or after every day, at midnight this fires, it will get a new array of all the units. It will then check those units to see if it's their birthday. Alright, that finishes out this video. So let's just make sure we save everything. And in our next video, what we're going to do is we are going to give functionality to this HUD. We're going to make it show up on the screen. We're going to pass the data from our unit structure. Remember, we set that up in our structures folder here. So it's going to take this information that we set in our actual unit, which we set, inside our Get Unit features at the very end here. If you have any comments, anything you want to see in this video series, please let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you like this video, hit that like button. It lets me know I'm bringing you content you value, and it helps get this channel out there to people. And I hope to see you in the next tutorial. And as always, I hope that you have a wonderful day.